I'm comparing the beloved VaultX binder to one from Temu to see if the price difference really matters. VaultX and their products are quite popular in the TCG space, especially for Pokemon collectors. Almost every Pokemon content creator swears by them, sponsored or not. By the way, this video isn't sponsored. I was just genuinely curious about their binders and I wanted to see for myself. So let's start off with the build of each binder. Both binders use a water-resistant polyurethane material supported by foam padding underneath. You begin to see the difference when you compare the interiors, where the VaultX binder uses a soft touch microfiber material, whereas in the Temu binder you get what you pay for, comprised of a soft material but definitely not microfiber. The zipper on the Temu binder glides a bit easier, but I'll chalk that up to the VaultX binder being extremely new. I literally saved the unboxing and first impressions for this video so as to give a proper comparison between the two. That being said, the hardware on both zippers are good and haven't given me any issues with jamming. The pages and pockets themselves feel sturdy, with good stitching per pocket. In my experience, I've never had any pockets fall apart or rip. They're definitely not flimsy like the old school vertical slot sleeves you'd find in 3-ring binders. Both binders use a side loading method, which helps secure your cards in place without worrying about them falling out for whatever reason. I do notice that the VaultX binder pockets are slightly taller than the Temu binder by about 3mm. Either way, both binders have ample room to store your cards, even if you double sleeve them or use taller sleeves such as penny sleeves or the like. Keep in mind that with all that room per slot, cards might have extra room to move around depending on what sleeve you use. The best way to keep them in place is if both sides of the page have cards in them. That being said, I'm assuming that you're not making any erratic movements or throwing your binders around like you don't care. Again, just something to keep in mind in terms of storage. One issue I have found with the Temu binders is that some pockets arrive with defects such as scratches or blemishes that can't be removed. I've had it happen to a few of my binders before, but not for all of them, so your mileage may vary in that sense. The pockets are durable but can also scratch easily, especially when you use sleeves that have a rougher edge. Now, scratching is to be expected, especially if you're constantly rearranging the order of your cards per page as you continue collecting. So I'd suggest carefully slotting the cards in or finalizing your layout before slotting them in so as to mitigate the amount of scratching that the pockets receive. Another thing to keep in mind is the type of sleeve used, as some sleeves might have that rough edge I mentioned earlier that can contribute to scratches. I've noticed this rough edge with most third-party sleeves and even Pokemon sleeves either provided in the ETBs or bought separately. Branding on both binders are debossed but are in different placements, where the VaultX word mark is placed on the bottom left of the front cover and their lock logo is centered on the back cover. The Temu binder has the embossed logo centered on the front cover, leaving the back cover completely blank. I think for this specific case, I prefer VaultX's placement as it's slightly more subtle, particularly for the front cover. It gives artists a relatively blank canvas to work on customs compared to the Temu binder, where you have a dragon logo smack dab in the middle of your canvas that can get in the way of your work. Another key difference between the two are color options that you can choose from. With the Temu binders, they tend to be a solid color through and through. Some listings have pastel colors, others your standard black, blue, red, etc. VaultX generally have the same color options, including the popular pastel pink and purple, but they also have variants that use the color scheme of each theme set, geared toward those who are looking to complete their master set. In terms of price, Temu 9-pocket zip binders can range from $25 to $35 Canadian, while VaultX 9-pocket zip binders go for about $45 Canadian. If you're familiar with Temu and how they give out discounts, with some patience you can get the same binders for $20 or even less. So with all that info, what binder should you go for? I feel like the answer to that can come down to any specific factor. If we're talking about price, then the Temu binder would be the way to go, especially with the discounts that you can get. In terms of color, either binder choice works just fine. The only time it'd make a key difference is if you're doing a master set and you want to color match it to the specific set the way that VaultX does it. Now, if you're after quality, which I'd argue is the most important factor, if you want the absolute premium feeling binder, then VaultX is the easy choice. If you want one that you can use without worry, then the Temu binder is the way to go. The most common sentiment I hear when it comes to VaultX binders is that you can feel the difference. And to be honest, the only time I can tell the difference is in the inside cover. Aside from that, everything feels practically the same. Now, if you're a bit particular like me, you can start off with a Temu binder to fill up, organize, and reorganize. Then, when you finalize the layout and completed your binder, you can then transfer it to a VaultX binder since theoretically you wouldn't change it any further. This would apply for master sets as well. Granted, yes, this method is a bit unnecessary. The only reason why I'd use this method is because of the scratches that can occur from the constant in and out of cards from the pocket pockets, but if that doesn't matter to you, then you can skip this completely and stick to one binder. That being said, if I had to choose just one, I'd go with the Temu binder. Aside from minor differences, the Temu binder has everything the VaultX one has, with similar color options for a slightly lower cost. With that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried either binder before? Which one would you prefer? Is there another brand that you recommend using? Let me know in the comments below. And aside from that, I'll see you in the next video.